Well, nice having you. Let's
Nice
have
to be here.
our little chat, and we're very happy to have this movie, you know, and also now that we got to know the cast, we were very happy, even more happier to have the movie, because it is a very nice story with a very nice cast and very nice characters, and so we're, you know, we're really, we hope for the best for this movie in our festival anyway.
I'm not worried. I think people, it's this kind of film, it resonates with people because it's unique in the sense that it brings people together from cross cultures, you know, from different walks of life. And I think people, they want to see entertainment with good messaging. We have so many movies. It's typical to see films with the same, I guess you call it the same equation. You know, it's all about pure entertainment, which is fine. We love to be entertained different ways, but it's also good to have films that reinforce positive messaging, so that you can take something away with you when you leave the film, knowing that it gets you to think. You know, maybe we should be better to one another. Maybe we should be kind to one another. So I really love that. I really love being a part of this film because of that.
Well, definitely, I agree with you. It's a feel-good movie, but at the same time, it's a movie. You know, it's we see this in cinema maybe before more than today, where it reinforces human values, whether it's friendship, whether it's family values, or but you come out of it and you believe even more in those values than before you saw the movie, and we, you know, and it's very nice feeling, because it's like feeling stronger about your own values when you see a story that happens somewhere else with people very different from you, yet it is very touching. It is I need to compliment you for being in this movie, and also for playing this very nice character. Well, the character is a tough guy, you know. It is portrayed as let's call them conservative Muslims, you know, who live in New York, but at the same time, as much as they are conservative and as much as they look tough and strong, they also have an inner life where they're very soft and very and this is very good to show that sometimes we tend to judge on people on the face value, but there is something inside that could be very different. And I think this is something also that this movie is showing, and I think you contributed to that, you know, at least in showing this, and it was very well done, because I understand that the more conservative the Muslim is, well, the bigger the surprise to find out that is a nice, kind person who deals well with the rest of the world, and who doesn't really want harm for them, and this is also a very nice and strong message. I think that the film is conveying through you, through your character.
Well, the way that I was brought on, there's a story. The way that I was brought onto this film, it's really the roller coaster of my life. I first got onto the film. I was playing a minor character. I had about one line in the film, and the actor who was supposed to play my character guess had an issue of some kind and didn't show up. So they told me, they walked up to me and told me, hey, you're being bumped up to a bigger character. And I was like, okay, what happened? They said, okay, this guy, he's not here, so we need somebody, but check this out. You only have 30 minutes to be prepared. So keep in mind, I never met anybody on this set as far as Gabriel, the director, Claudio and his brother. I was meeting everybody literally for the first time. And I was really nervous because as an actor, you need time to create your character, to give it personality and life. And I was really nervous. I was sweating bullets, and I kept telling myself I have to do a good job for these people. And I got ready 30 minutes to memorize my lines and create my character. I show up to the set, and as soon as we're getting ready to start filming, it started raining. So one thing after the next, I was just getting really nervous. And they calmed me down and they told me, hey, the rain is actually a part of the scene, but it happened randomly. The rain happened, from the sky. It was real rain, but it happened randomly, but it was originally written for it to be raining in the scene. So it was almost as if it was destiny for me to be on this film. And the one thing that I took away from this film and everything that we did is just, there was a time and place, and I'm sure you know this, before the Spanish Inquisition, there was a time and place where Muslims, Jews, and Christians lived side by side together in peace and harmony. And we were trying to bring back this idea that we can still be this if we inspire one another to be good to one another. It's the simple phrase that goes, be good to your neighbor, be kind to your neighbor, because today you may not need them, but tomorrow you just may. And we can't survive on this planet without living together and learning how to, tolerate one another's differences and respect each other, within those differences. And this film touched me in so many ways. Being a Muslim, I've been in the conservative, my family's a conservative Muslim family, so I've seen how conservative Muslims interact with the rest of the world, and sometimes it could be a little serious. I'm not saying that it's bad in any way, but sometimes it could be a little too serious. And the same with conservative religions across the board. And sometimes I feel like there's a lack of empathy and kindness to one another. And this is the Prophet Muhammad's way, is being kind to your neighbor, even though they're being very mean to you. So I'm really glad and happy that they brought me onto this film, and I was able to perform for them in the way that they enjoyed and liked.
Yeah, well, I'm very glad to hear what you're saying, because as a matter of fact, in these times, it's good to have such messages, because whatever situation we may live, in the Middle East, in the world, it should not stop us to reconsider the message, and the message is exactly this. So we might ask ourselves, how can we follow this message, just like the movie is saying, how can we be true to our principle when the situation is very difficult and tells us that it's almost impossible? And it's exactly the story, the tango story, and it is really the question that most today Muslims, most Christians, most Jews face, because there's some kind of like a fire or a war or whatever, this situation that pushes people to think that they're in fact they're enemies, and they're in a fight, and the only way to break this circle is to say, well, I will stop treating my enemies as enemies, and I will treat them with kindness as friends. And the message says that if you treat them as friends, they become friends. And this is nice. But I think this message should be relayed in movies, should be relayed in art before it gets to the heads of politicians, because very few politicians would want to walk the opposite side, the opposite sense of traffic, because the traffic is going one way, and they'd rather stay on that same direction. When in fact today it's good to send this message, and it's maybe opposing the traffic, but it's the only way out to calm down the situation and go back to some nice relations with other people. That's it's that easy. But I want to go back to the story, because it's also a comedy, and I have to confess that when I saw the scene, first scene, when you were talking with Moshe, Rabbi Moshe, and then that ended up, you gave him some kind of advice, but you were so strict, and so the way you appeared, and then the way you talked, and I said, hey, it's funny, how come the Muslim character is not funny? Or I was, you were the one who was really serious there, because we saw you only in that. And then at the end, the sense of humor, came out when we saw and I don't want to spoil the story, but the ending point came from that character, with a very humoristic manner, to end the debate on this whole story. And I mean, it saved the face of the character as a comedy character, meaning as a character that has humor. Otherwise it would have been a character who doesn't have humor, just serious guy, and which is good, but we are in a comedy, and he needs also to have some kind of some sense of humor.
Sure. Yeah, it's it's ironic how the serious character had the moral of the message at the end of the story, was the one to sum up the moral of everything. But it makes a lot of sense that it would be that way, because he's serious. So he is a thinker, and he deeply thinks about these things. So it makes a lot of sense. The aspect that I really loved the most was that at the end of the conversation between Moshe and the Imam character, there was a sense of everything's gonna be okay between us, even though we don't necessarily agree on things. And that is the major takeaway, because it doesn't matter how hardly you believe in something. It really matters at the end of the day how you express your difference with somebody, and still maintain a sense of love and compassion and empathy and understanding. Because without these things, we're no different than animals.
Yeah, I agree with you. We're humans because of these things. And also, I don't know, I want to express also this idea, and I think a lot of people will be in the Muslim world will be very touched by getting into a conservative Jewish home, because they will realize that they're very, very close to conservative Muslim homes, you know, in terms of interaction, family interaction, you know, the husband, the wife, the kids, and they will find that it's very close in terms of education, in terms of you know, dynamics, let's say family dynamics, you know, where the guy, you know, the head of the family feels that he carries the, you know, the on his shoulder the, you know, so many, you know, the destiny of the whole family. So he's unable to ask for help, unable to show that he's weak, and yet you know, he needs to deal with that situation to move on. You know, sometimes you need to be able to just say, okay, I'm helpless, and I need to find a solution as a helpless, weak human being, you know. And in conservative families, you know, everybody portrays the father as he should be the rock there, you know, he should be the one. And it's very nice to realize that, to see how, in fact, people are so similar between, you know, you know, and
that's another takeaway that you're pointing out just now, is that we tend to forget that we're human sometimes. We're not robots. And you know, the main character, he showed a level of humbleness, and he showed a level of knowing that you know, his ideas and beliefs aren't the only beliefs in the world. He honored other people's ideas and thoughts because he wasn't arrogant enough to feel like he was the center of the universe, which is another beautiful aspect of the character in the story.
Yeah, exactly, and it's very nicely done, because to him it was also a journey. It didn't happen just like that. He faced the rejection of the, you know, of his community, and he was wise enough to say, okay, I'm going to go out of my comfort zone to look for good advice.
That's way out of his comfort zone.
Yeah. But so let me ask you about your career. Are you a professional actor, basically, or?
So I you know, growing up in a Muslim family, they wanted me to be a doctor, like all my other siblings. And everybody in my family is a doctor. Okay. I you know, as a child, I used to, you know, love watching TV a lot. I used to mimic my different favorite cartoon characters and their voices, and it became a talent. But my parents didn't support. My family didn't really support what I was pursuing. That, you know, because coming from an Arab background, you know this. You have to be an engineer or a doctor, something that's realistic, something that puts food on the table, you know. And it's only when I graduated college, I came to New York when I was around 23 years old, and I pursued it. So by that time, I already was, you know, I participated in many short films in the art school where I lived in Tampa, Florida. And from there is where I developed my talent and developed my technique. But I wasn't formally trained, and I didn't go to a school like Juilliard, you know, or, you know, a famous drama program. I'm mostly self-taught, but I also follow different techniques that I read and I practice, and I'm mostly self-taught. To be honest. I consider myself a professional. I hope so, because the people I was acting with were incredible people. We had many talented people on this project, so I consider myself very fortunate and humbled that they chose me to perform for them, and I think they saw the talent or the skill. I would hope so.
Yeah, well, normally, yes. But in any way, even if they didn't see it before doing it, they saw it after doing it. So, so it's good. But that's nice. And you participate. You live in the States. You work in the States.
So I'm actually a paramedic. Even though I never became a doctor, I still stayed in the medical field because it's in my bones. For the last 6 years, I've been serving my community in New York as a paramedic, especially during the pandemic, saving lives and helping people.
In New York City? In New York City?
In New York City. I started in Brooklyn. My mentor is actually somebody who is actually very famous and well known. He was the first Black paramedic in New York City, and he was the person who established peace between two rival gangs. I don't know if you know anything about us in America, but we have these gangs called the Bloods and Crips. And
no, I don't know. I didn't know I don't know these two gangs. No.
So they're famous in Los Angeles, but he established peace between these two groups. He was honored at the United Nations, where I drove him to be honored at the General Assembly. So I was taught by, God rest his soul, he passed a few years ago, but I was taught by this gentleman in his paramedic school, and since then I've been taking care of people. That's what I do. Every actor has to have a day job, and that's my calling until I die. Honestly, even if I become famous tomorrow, I'm always going to look to help others.
Yeah, well, that's wonderful. That's wonderful that you get to do these two jobs, which are passion jobs. The jobs that you save lives, and then you make people happy watching, listening, and watching stories. so that's nice, and I'm very happy to have you. We're running a little late now on time, but I'm very happy to have you. I wish you luck in your.
Thank you so much. It was.
Excuse me. Sorry.
I was just thanking you for having me. I really appreciate it. It was very nice talking to you.
The least we could do, and the best luck also for the film, because the film is in competition against other films, and hopefully he'll stand.
I hope so. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, okay. And let's stay in touch. I'm also I'm a director.
Okay.
So if you were to write a story that happens in New York, an Arab in New York, then maybe we'll
Do you have my contact? I mean, you have my contact information. You have my email address.
Your email.
Okay.
Information. But,
and if you needed my phone number in the future, email me for that, and I will provide it for you. And I would love to talk to you again.
Yeah. Well, nice talking to you. And
it was nice talking to you.
YASIR. It's YASIR in Arabic, no?
YASIR. YASIR is fine.
YASIR.
Yeah.
In Morocco, we say YASIR. We put the emphasis on the second part of but it's YASIR. YASIR.
Either way is fine, but YASIR is good too.
YASIR. Okay. Thank you so much. And take care of
yourself.
yourself.
Assalamu alaikum.
Bye bye.
Take care.